we've sold about 1,600 tickets already. We've got about 300 left if people want to come. They're very much available, but it's a really special thing for Oxfordshire.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
I'm going to do a very old school radio thing and say, and put my hand to my ear and say, Matt Richardson, are you there as well on the Zoom?
I am here, inside your ear. It's been a while, Rich. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Matt, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm someone who I didn't introduce because I wasn't sure he was going to be on. So I'm going to do my introduction again now and say, of course, someone who maybe doesn't need an introduction, of course, to Oxfordshire listeners, comedian, TV, radio, and the best things come out of Didcot, Matt Richardson, comedian. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad I got my intro in there. Was it all right?
Thank you very much. It was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having both of us this morning.
No, nice.
We've become an unlikely duo.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Hearing Ed's story, which I'm sure you have done, Matt, as well. The kind of light and shade. I mean, that it goes with comedy, doesn't it? There you lead someone
Absolutely.
down one avenue and then go on to the other. And you've been involved with Helen Douglas House, but for a long time, Matt. And this is not your first foray into doing a comedy gala.
No, so I wouldn't say I've been particularly involved with them until now. So they had a comedy gala for 10 years called Childish Things, which became kind of an Oxford legendary night.
Yeah.
It was a 2-nighter at the New Theatre. I remember the first time I did it was 2012.
Wow.
And I was on with, it was myself, Michael McIntyre, Jimmy Carr, Jason Manford. It was just a who's who. Lizzie, who used to organise it, was absolutely incredible. And then they stopped in 2014. I think 10 years in, it was a big undertaking. And a couple of years ago, Helen and Douglas House reached out to me about maybe doing something similar. And here we are, 4 weeks out from the incredible event for an absolutely wonderful charity.
Yeah, it really, really is. And obviously, I mean, the bright lights of London and showbiz have taken you, but you've always been Oxfordshire at heart. I sort of joke at the start and what have you. But you always gravitate to back here.
Yeah. Well, and I live back in Oxfordshire as well now.
Yeah.
So I've been back here. I live up near Brister in Hayford, and I would want to do as much local as possible. Like I really think Helen and Douglas House is a special place. I think it's unique. As the first kind of hospice for children in the world, it's been a real leader in a lot of things to help children. And I've been there a few times, and every time I go, all I want to do is to do as much as possible to make sure they can do as much good as they can do in the world.
No, absolutely, and brilliantly. Ed, who is going to be speaking at the event as well, and the wonderful Martha as well, alluded to the fact that yes, actually, that there is the incredibly sad and upsetting stories. The reason why Helen and Douglas House exist, and to make those times as good as possible. The juxtaposition between that and then putting on a comedy gala. Are you making sure that maybe Ed goes first and then you going on a little bit later? Is that the safety net that you have to have there with that?
We are having an interval after Ed. We are going to make sure that is the point where we've told the audience the story, because I think there's going to be a real mix of people there, right? Like there's going to be people that have just gone, oh, that looks like a really good night of comedy with some amazing names like Joel Dommett, Angela Barnes, Jem Brister, all these fantastic comedians. But I think a lot of people are coming because they already love Helen and Douglas House, and it's just another way to support them. And so the way it's going to work is, we've got all these amazing comedians. Out of the blue, the a cappella group are going to open the show, and they're going to do a number after the interval. But Ed is there to pull the heartstrings and brutally, Ed, open the purse strings of that audience even more. We are in the business of laughter and an amazing charity, but let's be cynical. We want their money. So Ed is going to tell his amazing story. Then we have a nice interval where they can all sit and stew in their guilt for a while and give us even more cash.
I'm really glad that you came on and could do that sell for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have gone there.
Look, it's one of those things. I think it's nice to do something for a charity like this where, all the comedians have given their time for free. Everyone involved on our side, the creative side, is totally doing it for nothing. Like, there's volunteers running the whole thing, because I barely had to tell them anything about this charity, and they knew they wanted to help out as much as they could. And I think that is how everyone feels about it locally. I don't think many cities have a charity that everyone has a connection to. Like, everyone I meet and I tell them about this show has a story of either themselves or a friend or someone in their family who has had an interaction with Helen and Douglas House. And I think that's why, we've sold about 1,600 tickets already. We've got about 300 left if people want to come. They're very much available. But it's a really special thing for Oxfordshire.
No, it absolutely is. I'm fairly sure that those tickets are going to go out the door in the next sort of day or two with those last 300, because it's looking absolutely amazing. I just wanted to thank you both for joining us. The complete, the light and the shade of everything that goes on. It's going to be a wonderful night, full of laughs. I'm sure of that. And also going to be a wonderful night as well with Ed being there and telling.
I'm so thrilled Ed's involved as well. Yeah. These shows we need to let people know what's going on. I think people might be vaguely aware of what Helen and Douglas House do, but the more they know, the more they'll want to be a little bit involved or give a little bit of money or anything once they hear a story like Ed's.
No, absolutely, for sure. Here, couldn't have put it better myself. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Great to catch up again. Weird being this way on the radio.
I know, right?
Yeah, no, we should chat more about that.
Also, definitely. We need to go for a beer and deconstruct Oxfordshire radio.
That's going to be a long beer. Anyway, Ed as well, thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be a magical night on the 17th of February. Grab your tickets now. Of course, it is for Helen and Douglas House, but make sure, as Matt said, you open those purse strings, and it's going to be a great and wonderful night. Thank you to you both.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful stuff there. Great hearing from Matt Richardson, of course, and Ed Tolputt there. Helen Douglas House Comedy Gala, the 17th of February. Go buy your tickets now. It's going to be a great night.